Hi guys, so today I wanted to kind of wrap up my reading from this past year. To start out with, I set a Goodreads reading goal of 60. I surpassed it and I read 94 books this year. And I did some percentages this time, like I kept track of pages I read, but only for physical books. And I kept track of a lot of different percentages and statistic kind of things on the books that I read. So first thing I'm going to go ahead and say is I set a goal for myself to read 18,000 pages. That would be 60 books at 300 pages each. And I read bigger books, I read smaller books, and I read more books. So out of my 18,000 page goal, I read 26,228 pages. And that was only the physical books I read. That doesn't include the 2 audiobooks and the multiple ebooks. So I will tell you those exact percentages in a minute. I just need to grab my laptop so that I can actually read the percentages because there are a lot of them. I'm just going to go in order of the way that I have them written in here. The first ones that I did were types of books. I read 93 books this year, not 94. Sorry about that. So out of the 93 books that I read this year, 75 of them were new books and 18 of them were rereads. I read 81% new books this year. I read 39 YA, 37 adult, 15 middle grade, no new adult, and 2 children's books. 42% of my reading was YA, and then 40% of it was adult. As for format, I read 34 paperbacks, 48 hardbacks, 9 ebooks, and 2 audiobooks. So the big percentages were I read 52% hardbacks and 37% paperbacks. For YA, out of the 39 YA books I read, 51% of them, 20 of them, were contemporary, 2 sci-fi, 3 dystopian, 4 fantasy, 3 historical fiction, 4 short stories / novellas, 1 suspense, and 2 other. I don't know what they were. Out of my 37 adult books, I read 5 contemporaries, 7 romance, 4 fantasy, 1 historical fiction, 4 short stories / novellas, 3 horror / suspense, 2 classics, 5 memoirs, 3 nonfiction, 1 poetry, 1 comic, and 1 other. Those percentages are all over the place, my highest one being 19% romance. Now, out of all of them put together, the genres, 25 contemporary, 7 romance, 8 fantasy, 3 dystopian, 2 sci-fi, 4 historical fiction, 2 classics, 8 short stories / novellas, 4 horror / suspense, 15 middle grade, because I read the entire series of Unfortunate Events, 5 memoir, 3 nonfiction, 2 children's, 1 poetry, 1 comic, and 3 others. So the biggest percentage was 27% contemporary. Locations! I tried to read more diversely a little bit this year, and one of the things that I wanted to know was where I was reading books from. Now, being as I do live in America, I did read a lot of books that take place in America. That is also a vast majority of what seems to be on the market in the more popular books. So I read 61 books that take place in America. That came out to 66%. 1 that took place in Lithuania, 2 in outer space, 2 in Scotland, 6 in England, 2 in Eden, which is another planet in a trilogy that I'm reading, 1 in Italy, 1 in Poland, 2 in Germany, 1 in Middle Earth, we all know where that is, 1 in Brazil, 1 in Palestine, 1 in Australia, and 11 in other. As in they either took place in multiple countries, I don't think any really did, or they didn't state a country. As for my 61 American locations, 5 were New York, 5 were Chicago, 5 in California, 3 in North Carolina, 2 in Alabama, 2 in Maine, 1 in Ohio, 1 in Michigan, 2 in New Orleans, 1 in New Mexico, 1 in Virginia, 2 in Connecticut, 2 in Massachusetts, 1 in Tennessee, 1 in Washington, 1 in St. Louis, and 26 took place in either multiple states or a non-disclosed location. So my highest percentage was 43% other. So for the gender of the authors that I read, 38 male, 50 female, and 5 that were both. So 54% of my reading was female, 41% was male, and then 5% was both male and female co-authors. As for my main characters, I read 18 books with male main characters. I read 42 with female, 29 with both, and 4 with no main character. So that came out to 45% of my reading was female main characters, 31 was both, 19 were male, and 14% had no main character. So I plan to do all of that again, keep track of all of that stuff again, just because it's kind of fun to see where my reading will change from year to year. I plan on keeping those and doing new ones for every upcoming year until I decide I don't care anymore. I might find some new things to slip in there, like things to keep track of. So let me know how your percentages wrapped up, if you took those. If you didn't, why not? Let me know if you have any goals for this upcoming year on how you want to balance those. I would definitely like to read less contemporary and less romance and more in the other genres, just because I read mostly contemporary and romance this year. I read mostly YA, so I would like to read some more adult books. As for genres, YA versus adult, I would like to even it out. I don't necessarily want to read more adult books than young adult books. I would also like to read a new adult book this year. I just want to even it out, see if I can maintain a balance where I'm reading multiple, reading throughout everything. I'm making a video series on books that I want to read this year. There's 3 videos on that. They will be coming out in the next 2. They'll be coming out in the month of January. And hopefully reading those books will help because they span all different genres. They're adult, they're young adult. I think I have some new adult in there maybe. I have some nonfiction, so hopefully that will help me start out the year nice. I'm currently in the middle of reading 5 books. 1 is contemporary romance, 2 are fantasy, 1 is dystopian, and 1 is an anthology. 4 of them are adult, 1 is YA, so once I finish all of those books, that will have me nice, a little uneven, but at the same time a little higher in the fantasy and adult categories. So that'll help me start out the year right. So I'm done blabbering on. Let me know your thoughts on my percentages. Let me know if you took down your own percentages. I would love to know. Tell me if you have any goals for what kind of books you want to read, if you're trying to read more diversely, if you're trying to read certain things more than others. Just let me know. I would love to start a conversation with you in the comments. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can check out my next video. Have a great day and a wonderful week. Bye.